In this part of the Halloween home tour series, I'll show you our haunting Halloween entryway that is full of simple crafts, a mix of store-bought and thrifted decorations, as well as gathered natural elements from outside to easily create a spooky and witchy look. In this next part of my Halloween home tour, I thought I would show you how I decorated our entryway. The first thing you'll probably notice is the staircase is dressed in a bunch of spider web. Now, this is a very inexpensive way to add a eerie Halloween look to staircases, hooks, mirrors, pictures, grandfather clocks, so lots of things you can dress in this very fun spider web. And it's quite easy to apply. Basically, you just stretch this spider web that comes kind of all collected together in a little package. And usually they're between $2 to $5 for a pack. This was actually just one pack that did this entire railing. So a little bit does go a long way with this. But you stretch it and then find little corners and edges that you can attach the spider web to, because that will kind of hold it when you further stretch the spider web to the next spot. So how I kind of got this look is I started out kind of down at the base of the railing and then kind of started stretching across the staircase, and then after I got the majority of this covered, you'll notice if you kind of just go with how the spider web works, it's a fairly even kind of look, but I kind of like a lot of this crossover because to me it gives it more of a scary spider web look. So after the staircase was covered, I kind of pinched different sections of the spider web and then pulled them and attached them here and there wherever there was a corner or something that would hold one of those edges. And then you just kind of keep doing that until you feel you have the look that you like. And then of course, after you have the spider web all done, you can choose some spiders to add to the web. So I have some large glitter spiders that I got at Dollar Tree last year, but you can add multiple sizes of spiders. You're not stuck on having to use just one type. So I also added these, I call them barn spiders. We grew up on a farm and there were always these large round spiders with tiny little legs hanging in the barn windows and in the doorway, and every single time we had to go into the barn, I was worried that one was gonna fall on me when I'd kind of run through the doorway. But anyway, these were something I found at Michael's this year and thought they were cute and nostalgic in an interesting way. But it's a great way to inexpensively dress a staircase railing or other large areas with a spooky Halloween look. So I started the witchy style look over here on this antique desk next to our front door. So to create this, I added a variety of some items found outside, some brand new store bought, and some thrifted. So it's kind of a collection of things. But to start, we have this little cast iron cauldron that I found at a garage sale for 10 bucks. I thought it was cute and it's heavy, so it definitely isn't going to go anywhere. But if you're using a container to do something like this, if the container itself isn't heavy, add some sand or little rocks or something for some weight so they can support branches. So these I picked outside and removed the leaves. They were something I pruned off of a tree, then added some of this kind of grayish colored Spanish moss in places, just set onto the branches. And then these tiny moths that were 3 packs from Michael's this year, So I thought it just kind of added a very spooky, kind of woodsy, witchy look over here. And then we have another moth sitting on top of this kind of witch's globe. I just placed it in a thrifted silver kind of pedestal bowl. This is something I got at the Goodwill for, I think, $3. Very inexpensive. More colored Spanish moss is kind of placed around the edge here. And this is a Bethany Lowe Halloween piece. So I do have some of these on my website. So I'll have a link to my website in the video description. But next to all of that, we have these potion bottles. These are something that I found at a craft store. They were just plain bottles with corks. And then I just decorated them with various things. So this just has a simple artificial leaf in it. This one has some plastic insects. This one has a large rubber fly in it. So that is something that is very easy, very inexpensive, and very fun and cool looking for kind of a witchy Halloween display. I've also placed glitter in jars. There's lots of different things that you can fill these with, and if you like, you can also print out and tape or glue on some spooky potion labels as well. And then on the chair in front of the desk, I have a spell book that I made. I used an old book and some tissue and Mod Podge and some other techniques to create this. There's another spell book I have sitting over on the entry table that I'll show you in a little bit. If you're curious about how to make your own spooky spell book, I'll have that video linked below in the video description. And coming down the stairs, we have a variety of spooky decorations. So I kind of chose things that felt Halloween, some of them vintage, some of them not vintage, but they look vintage. And then some specific Halloween decorations too. Starting out, this interesting green vine coming down the stairs. That was actually just a wire garland that I got. I think it was a spring clearance item a few years back, but to add more of a Halloween look to it, I kind of sprinkled some green Spanish moss here and there on it just to give it more of a woodsy kind of look, and wrapped it with these green wire lights that I got at Michael's this year. To me, it just kind of looks like a spooky pumpkin vine or something. And then the green just kind of is a fun way to illuminate this kind of side of the staircase display. But just touching on some of the items coming down the stairs, we of course have these very fun spooky candlesticks. These are something that I do have on my website. They're just very fun. They have a very vintage look to them to me. And when they're turned on, the flame color is a nice amber. So I'll show that a little later in the nighttime portion of this video. There's a couple brown glass jars. I also have some artificial pumpkins. Here's one that I replaced the artificial stem with a real dried pumpkin stem to give it more of a real look. I kind of talked about that in a fall video this year. But more of the moths, because they're super cute, love the fluffiness of them, and it just ties them in with the other decor that we have in this space. And then also there's a animated little owl in a cage, and that decoration I got at Michael's a few years ago. A spooky plant that I put together. That is another Halloween craft video that I have on my channel, so I'll have that link below too. An antique mouse trap with a vintage toy mouse on top of it, just because it felt like it fit with this kind of witch-themed, little bit slightly haunted house-themed entry theme that I have going in here this year. And up here on the landing, I put together this kind of eerie plant decoration or little vignettes. So we have this vintage bird cage that I placed some kind of Venus flytrap looking plant Halloween picks that I got at Michael's inside. And then I just surrounded it with some matching purple Spanish moss, and then wrapped the cage in some wire string lights. So I'll have those turned on later for the nighttime portion of the video. So to continue the witchy haunted house style look, I found this sign at Michael's this year, and I did do a little bit of painting on it to make it fit our home. So our home was built in 1898, so I did change the year on it to 1898. But next to it we have this owl bucket, and that is something that I do have a craft video showing how to make on my channel. So I will have that one linked below as well. And down below, this very, very cute witch art doll decoration. This is something I do have on my website, so this is in my online shop. I just thought she was really, really, really cute with the painted facial features, these protruding eyes, and I love that she's holding this cute little moon. So just lots of fun details on this, and I liked the vintage look of the outfit she's wearing with all these little buttons and the bow at the top. So I thought it was a really, really fun piece, and I think she looks pretty cute on this entry bench. But she's also holding something that does not come with her, but is a craft video on my channel, which is this witchy star wand. So that is a craft video I will have linked below as well. But across the entry table, so again, continuing the haunted house witch style look, I have the other spell book that is the one that I made in that craft video that I mentioned, another spooky plant, a vintage style prop Halloween radio, and more potion bottles, but these ones were ones that I found at a garage sale. And then I have these little burlap bundles that I made just simply by cutting a little square of burlap, filling it with really whatever you have, and then you can tie it with twine or wire depending on what you have, and just set it out, and it just looks like some other spooky thing that the witch needs for her potions or things like that. But other things to get this interesting eclectic Halloween look here. I always felt adding crystals to witch stations was fun, and they come in so many different colors. And then silver pieces again. This one was from Goodwill, very inexpensive, probably just a couple bucks. And then this jar back here was another Goodwill find. And we have more of the moths. You can see this lamp I have draped with some of this rustic, spooky looking cheesecloth. And that is very inexpensive. It's just a really great way to make something like this look kind of eerie for Halloween. The lights that I have in here are LED, and they do not get hot. So definitely do not use this, close to anything that would ever get hot. And then inside they have flickering flame effect light bulbs that I think I purchased at Home Depot. More of the moths cover the light fixture up here. Knowing moths love light, I thought it was kind of fun to kind of have them collected around this light fixture using painter's tape to attach them. This is just a piece of decorative fabric that I purchased. Originally I used it on a Halloween party table, but I think some other years I've used it this way as kind of a draped looking witch's cloak. And then I added this costume brooch kind of clasped to it just to continue with the witchy style of it. And then of course we just have this broom, and on the floor some Victorian pointed shoes. So that was a rummage sale find. I think they were 10 or 11 bucks if I remember correctly. But I did add some moon-shaped embellishments on them that are just clipped onto the laces, just to give them a little further of a witchy look. But yes, as you can see, all of these different Embellishments, whether they're store-bought, crafted, or thrifted, go a long ways to creating a very fun Halloween, haunting, woodsy, witchy look. But I'm just gonna wait until it's dark outside and I'll show you what all of this looks like at night. Looking for some spooky Halloween decorations and gifts? From nightlights, decorative figures, and signed books, to candy dishes, jars, and tableware, my online shop offers a variety of festive items to make your upcoming holiday full of Halloween fun. Take a browse. You never know what spooky decorations and gifts you'll find.